The penultimate round of this enthralling season of racing comes to the driver's favourite of Suzuka, a fun, winding and fast circuit where only the best will thrive. Welcome along, ladies and gentlemen, to RaceSpotTV and to Friday night prime time. Once more, it is myself, Zach Sweeney, with Cameron Roger alongside me in the booth, with Zach Johnson given the production feed. And Cam, it's the 11th week of the season, and yet it's another one where we are looking forward to a cracker.
Yeah, this calendar has been amazing this season, and this really, as you say, is one of the drivers' favourites. It's such a fast flowing circuit. It's still got that old school nature. It's got all the gravel runoffs. It's got the tyre barriers very close to you. You are you're not rewarded for pushing the limits too much. You've got to keep it within the limits, and you've got to be making sure that you're doing a good job, because especially through sector 1, sector 2, all those corners, it's going to be so tricky to get the lap time.
Yeah, there is so much opportunity to get that lap time. You have to be committed in order to do it, but more so being smooth and just consistent is what's going to be rewarded, especially through those uphill S's. And just the majority of the circuit rewards just being nice and smooth on the steering, not, fighting with the car too much, and just, having that confidence to turn the car in and trusting that it will stick. And as you say, with a very old school nature, there's not much in the way of runoff here at Suzuka either, as we see here with the number 1 car, I believe, of Ronnie Nunez. He's now coming in towards this hairpin. You can just see, what the margin of error is. It's literally nothing.
It certainly is, and in this car it's going to be quite interesting because it's a longer track. As you see, over 2 minutes here. There's a long time in a car this small. It's obviously a lower formula car. It's more momentum based, and if you lose time coming out of these corners onto these long straights, especially through Spoon Curve here out onto the backstretch, it's going to be very important, because you will just lose time all the way down this straight if you don't get the best exits, and that could hinder some drivers a little bit more. And as you see already, we've got half a second to Nick Thyssen back in second place there. Got quite a lot of time to make up from Piquet there, who's already up into pole position.
Yeah, but of course, Nick Thyssen is certainly more of a racer than he is a qualifier. We've seen that time and time again in this series. You see Nunez now through the final chicane and towards the line. Again, as you say, you have to use the momentum in this car. It just gets exaggerated. Any mistake is just exaggerated so much. What can Nunez do as he crosses the line? It's only P4, but if you count Piquet out, it is a very, very close qualifying indeed. As 2015 for Thyssen, a 2015 for Bradick, 2016 for Nunez, 2017 for Roosendahl, and a 2017 for Hertois. It's, there's definitely not much in it at all in that fight for second.
It certainly is very close, and I'm surprised, actually, as you say, just about a quarter of a second covering the sort of 2nd to 6th, 7th place as well. So it's going to be a very close race indeed, and how it's going to work on this track is going to be very interesting. This back straight and all the way down to turn 1 is basically just one massive straight with a chicane in the middle of it. However, all the corners and all the battling that's going to happen through sector 1 and 2 as well is going to be very fascinating watch to see in a sprint race. And it being such a long lap, how many laps can they go before they finally have to make a move into this Casio triangle and try and make something happen? But Nick Thyssen here coming out of the final corner all over the curbs and trying to get a run towards the line. Second place currently. Is he going to be able to get any closer towards the front? Is going to be very close indeed, but is he going to improve? Doesn't look like he is, and still half a second back.
Yeah, not great at all, but still retaining that P2, that front row start for the time being. Viti Velen goes up and takes that second place from Nick Thyssen. He was on pole a number of times so far this season. Only second place so far is Jesper Sandström gets himself up into P6 provisionally as well. We only get 2 laps, as we say, each week in this qualifying session. The first one usually is to just set a decent banker time, but the second one is really where you have to push the limits. And for a number of drivers, they haven't been able to capitalize on that second lap, and that could really shake things up.
Yeah, certainly can. It's putting the pressure on the drivers to get those laps in as quick as they can, and to come and perform. You can do it all in practice, but when it comes to the actual session where it counts, that is what you want to see. Is Birol there, 13th place at the moment. Is he going to be able to improve himself? Yes, he does. Up inside the top 10, but 9/10 off pole.
Yeah, literally a second covers the top 13, so it is very close, as we see Nunez up in a second place so far in this session. A quarter of a second off the pole sitter of Piquet, who was unable to go for a second lap. Anyone else dare to challenge the pole time set by Pedro Daniel Piquet? Not at the moment, as we see the final stragglers of cars. This is Vaughan Roberts through the Casio triangle for the final time. He is 1.5 seconds off. Koenigsfeld goes up into P14, so just waiting for those last couple of stragglers to get across the line. What can Vaughan Roberts do on this short dash through the line, where you really just have to limit the amount of drive that you take, and that'll certainly be interesting in the race. But qualifying drawn to a close. It's Piquet on pole with Nunez alongside. This should be a good one.
It certainly will, and I can't wait for this. The car's been so good all season at various different circuits, and coming to a more Grand Prix track, let's say, should certainly be a good race once again. It's going to be tight, it's going to be fast, and as always, we're going to see a crazy battle for the lead. We had a 5-6-way battle last week at Hockenheim, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see that again with just how close these lap times are.
Well, we will take a look at how they racked up after qualifying. It was a fantastic effort from Piquet, who sees himself take pole position. Ronnie Nunez will join him on the front row with VT Velin and Nick Thyssen 3 and 4. Alfie Bredick rounds off the top 5. Jesper Sandstrom to his inside on that dash towards T1. Mattis Martinsen P7, Patrick Grusendahl P8, with Jim Hatois and Kevin Birra rounding off the top 10 and the 5th row of the grid. Klaus in P11 with Rubio in P12. It will be a dash between those two. And right amongst the midfield as well, Ramban P13, Jeffrey Koenigswald P14. Janssen rounds off the top 15 with Vaughan Roberts unable to improve on his final time. It's only P16 for him. Spencer Reitzmer has got some cheering on in the YouTube chat. Unfortunately for him, only P17 with Matan Kaderia in P18 alongside. And just behind them to round off the grid, Carl Reed, Mana and Portugal 19th, 20th and 21st respectfully. So we've got quite a large grid and quite a fast first sector. So it should, you would expect, be quite single file for at least the opening half a lap really.
It might just do, but look how wide this front stretch is coming down towards turn 1. There's loads of opportunities, and of course the first braking zone really is into turn 2 as well. So look out for some drivers diving down the inside and trying to make up some moves here on lap 1.
That is to be expected, and you certainly can because of how wide, as you say, the straight is, and it's actually quite a long run down in towards T1. We're waiting for the rest of the grid to line up, and then we will get ourselves underway here for round 11 of the iR-04 Challenge Series here at Suzuka. And well, I for one certainly cannot wait. Piquet got pole position by a quarter of a second, but can Nunez do anything on that run towards T1? We will soon find out as the cars rev themselves up. We are ready to get ourselves underway, and here we go. A really good start there for Nick Thyssen as he already darts his way to the right hand side. A pretty poor start there for the P2 man of Ronnie Nunez as they barrel their way down in towards T1. Nick Thyssen with a fantastic start, already eyeing up P2 to the inside of turn 2, side by side with VT Velin, who's going to hold him around the outside. A clean start for Piquet though out in front, still side by side between Velin and Nick Thyssen, who has to just tuck in behind as they go through the S's for the first time, single file pretty much for the entire field.
They certainly are, and Nick Thyssen there, as you say, jumping up amazingly, but the number 1 car of Nunez having a terrible start, going way down to 4th place already and getting involved with the pack. So as it stands, Piquet there at the front is going to be getting away, but just look how close these cars are coming up the hill around Dunlop Curve into the Degner corners where it's so fast and so flowing, but if you make a mistake you can get a run up into the hairpin.
For sure, it is going to be a prime overtaking opportunity if you are close enough. But just look, it is bumper to bumper to bumper pretty much for the entire field. In towards the hairpin for the first time. No one brave on the brakes, at least this time around. A couple of looks, but no one really committing. But VT Velin is all over the rear end of Piquet. That slipstream is going to prove vital in this race. Can he eye up a move on that run in towards Spoon Curve? He is closing the gap. Piquet is going to feel a bit of the pressure. Can he sweep all the way around the outside? Velin unable to on this occasion. Maybe just wants to sit back and wait for that run down in towards 130R.
Yeah, I wonder if it's going to be a situation if you can defend or not. Satters Velin there just having a little bit of a moment, but he's in the race and he's getting the slipstream now up towards this very fast corner. 130R, amazing overtakes have been done here on the inside and on the outside, and it is the outside that the number 15 cars there is going to go, but side by side almost thinking about it as we come up towards the first braking zone into the Casio triangle. Almost a bit of contact between the two. Nick Thyssen all the way around the outside, there's contact, and the number 6 car there's going to be pushed off. Velin goes through and Nick Thyssen now side by side for the lead.
Oh, he is. Velin is going to be, he's going to get told off for that one, I think. I don't think that Piquet is going to like that one too much. Bit of contact, managed to hold it initially, but now it's just invited a whole gaggle of cars into the mix. Piquet down to P5 and is going to be struggling to hang on to that one. Also, Nunez fighting Thyssen for second place on this run towards T1. Nearly 3 abreast as they funnel their way through this flick to the right. Then you have to get on the brakes once more, side by side between Thyssen and Nunez. Thyssen still on the outside, gives them the inside for the next left-hander as they climb their way through the S's. Nunez still, though, on the outside, quickly becomes the inside, still side by side between these two. Meanwhile, Velin is getting a lead out in front. Nunez using the momentum to swing his way around the outside and finally is up in a second place. And Sandstrom wants to get into the mix and wants to get himself onto the podium, but gutted for Piquet, but at least he's still in the mix.
Yeah, just I don't know if he broke too early or if it was the car behind him braking a little bit late there. I'm not really too sure. We'd have to see a replay on that one. But either way, he was sort of bulldozed out of the way. Nick Thyssen managing to try and take opportunity, as well as Nunez and Velin also is really the big winner out of that one, going up towards the lead. So let's see how this one continues, because Velin, we've seen him be so fast in quite a few races, and he's got almost a 1 second lead. But the guys behind are not going to be letting him get away as they continue and use the slipstream to get back.
He's got the pace, but has he got the race pace? Has he got the consistency and the composure in order to win this race? We're not even 5 minutes into it. This is our second lap, and already it has proven to be the host of a lot of carnage, a lot of drama. So I'm really looking forward to the rest of this race. Nunez, though, is going to be fighting for his life in order to stay into that slipstream range, and he has been left vulnerable, really, because he hasn't got that slipstream to Nick Thyssen behind as they now once more go towards 130i. Is Thyssen interested in going for second place, or does he want to go for the race lead? We'll soon find out as they head towards the braking zone for this final chicane. Nunez semi-defensive, but Thyssen not interested, so I think he knows. I think these two are going to be trying to chase for that race lead.
Yeah, and Sandstrom in the background having to defend as well. So there's two battles here inside the top five as we had some contact through 130R. The number 17, Cardell Reed, having a bit of an issue with Kadira there in the background. But back towards the front, Nick Thyssen on the outside now of turn number 1, with Nunez on the inside as they continue to go side by side in towards turn number 1. Not really a braking zone in these cars. It's turn 2 where you have to brake, and Thyssen trying to hold around the outside once again, but Nunez managing to hold on, not going side by side this lap around, but Thyssen certainly looking very fast to come back and challenge for that second place.
He certainly looks feisty. Well, Nick Thyssen, he knows his way around a race circuit. He knows how to overtake. He's given us some brilliant moves in the past, and I'm sure he'll continue to do so in this race as well. He's done some outrageous things, and trying it around the outside at T1 at Suzuka is certainly one of them. Unfortunately for him, it didn't quite work out. Nunez was able to hang on for the time being. I think we're going to take a look. This is what happened to the pole sitter of Piquet, just in towards the Casso Triangle. Maybe got caught up a little bit, the gaggle of cars. Maybe Velin just got, a bit too sharp on the brakes, locked up the front a little bit, and in doing so just sent Piquet wide and went onto the Astro. And with how close everyone was behind, it was really difficult for him to keep any composure there.
Yeah, it's so difficult to see from that angle if either the driver was braking too early, too late, but I think it was just a fact of where they were. Oh, double spin there, double pirouette. Doesn't look like there was any contact. I didn't see any. I just think of the two cars there, 16 and 17, just going for a bit of a spin. And let's see, this is just a replay of a few moments ago, and that is Sandstrom there going way too wide, and unfortunately taking out Piquet as well, making his day go from bad to worse. Whoa, no, massive reverse there onto the racing line. Do not do that.
Cannot be doing that. That is, very dodgy to say the least. Of course, we get it with desperation. You want to get back onto track, and of course he is going to be a little bit angry with how this race has gone so far, but no excuse in that front at all. As we take a look with fights up and down the field, this is the fight for P3 as Nick Thyssen still hangs on to it, and we got to fight really just all the way back down. Everyone is just in this massive conga line of cars. It's not for P3, I believe it is for P4. You can see ducking and diving to the right hand side. The number 2 of Martinson wants to try and keep the number 11 of Rubio. They're going to be 3 abreast as well as Birra wants to get involved through the middle. Is he going to make this one stick? Yes, he is. Still though, Rubio to the complete outside of the circuit. Just once more the number 2 going to find the gap and follow him through, and this is great racing. A lot of cars involved, and that's what you really like to see. A bit of wheel banging as they head through the next right-hander of the S's, and for a sequence of corners that are really taken single file in most series, they're loving this going side by side.
Oh, they absolutely are. Rubio Martinson having such a battle. There's slightly in the background as well. Got Vaughan Roberts and Koenigsfeld having a bit of a battle come out through Dunlop as well. That's a big wiggle though. Cars off left, right and centre. And that's number 12 going for a spin around. There's Koenigsfeld coming back onto the racing line just about, but not getting involved with anyone. I think that was him just going a little bit too wide, just catching that front wheel on the gravel coming through Dunlop.
So easy to do. It's just a slight bit of understeer. You want to take the corner flat, but it's really, really difficult to do. So this is Roosendahl under pressure from Alfie Bradick, who gets a really good drive off the hairpin now to the inside and should be ahead on this run in towards Spoon Curve. For Choice as well, going to follow him through in the slipstream. Now is side by side with Roosendahl, who really has nothing to say to this one. Her Choice now has to keep his nerve about him to go around the outside of Spoon. He's being given the space by Roosendahl. He's got to do it once more through the second apex though. Can he be able to do that as Roosendahl gives him a wide right back. Bit of a snap from Birol behind. He's managed to save that. I think Choice has used the momentum and the slipstream to get himself up into the top 5 and still retaining the slipstream of Bradick in P4 as well. So that was quite opportunistic and really well done from Choice.
Yeah, Roosendahl's not going to be most happy with that lap, losing those couple of positions. And also look at the 4 cars behind, just having a massive battle as well. Birol, Rubio, Martinson and Klaus as well, just trying to get each and every position. We've seen this so many times this season. You have to either pass or be passed. It's in the background there. That looks like going to be Martinson and Klaus having a bit of a battle. Klaus trying to almost get up the inside of the final corner, which you don't often see. But now the slipstream towards turn 1. Everyone's taking that defensive line on the inside, trying to hold that racing line, but also a little bit in the background there. Klaus now maybe with Janssen side by side towards turn number 1, but looks like he's just going to be able to hold on to it into turn 2.
He goes a bit wide though, does the number 2 of Martinson. That's going to invite Klaus to the inside, and as well with Janssen too, who's just going to say thank you very much, I'm on my way, and up inside the top 10. So a clumsy mistake there for Martinson to just run a little bit wide, and it is just like over racing. They are just locked in this slipstream lap after lap, and as soon as you run a little bit wide, everyone on that inside line is just like, yeah, cool, on my way, and you just can't do anything about it. You are a complete passenger. Vaughan Roberts as well, I think, is getting into the mix. Martinson wants to launch the counter-attack on Janssen, unable to do so into the Degners because you're not on the brakes for very long, and this circuit, especially the margin for error, is very small, but going side by side through the Degners, that's just asking for trouble.
Yeah, that's not what you want to do. Certain parts of this track are really wide, but that part is not. And especially with a one-line sort of double apex sequence of corners, you do not want to be overtaken in that part of the track. As you say, that's just a recipe for disaster. He's come back to this battle for P4 now. Bradick and her toys battling it out side by side almost in towards the spoon curve, this double apex corner. You really need to focus on this second part to get the exit out onto the back straight. But unfortunately, it looks like her choice there is going to, or at least for Bradick, is going to be getting a run towards 130R. It's going to be side by side between the two. We've seen so many collisions coming up to this corner as well. Hopefully they can continue side by side. Awesome move here for the number 4, her toys round the outside, but they keep it together. Little bit of contact potentially on the apex, but it looks like it's a clean battle so far. Even continuing in towards the Casio triangle, still side by side between the two, but her toys later on the brakes and gets the position.
He's going to be vulnerable though down this pit straight because Bradick is going to be like, well, now I've got the slipstream. He might have a run towards T1. You can see her choice already to the right hand side, pretty much touching that inside wall, leaving just a margin of space. And you can see now Bradick pulls to the left hand side. It'll give him the outside line for T1. Has he got the slingshot to propel himself the long way round? No, he hasn't. Has to tuck him behind. So her choice hangs on for 4th place, but only for now. And meanwhile, Roosendahl and Birol have got themselves into this fight as well. So it's a 4-car train for P4. Also, looking on the timing tower, Nunes is close on to Velen as well.
Yeah, the race lead is not over. Velen hasn't been able to get away. Nunes showing that pace that he obviously had in the qualifying from that P2, and continuing that as we go throughout the race. They've dropped Nick Thyssen now by 2.5 seconds, and this battle is getting closer and closer. I just wonder if Nunes has enough to overtake, because it looks like with the way that he's caught up, I think Velen is going to struggle to hold on to this.
It's going to be difficult, and they need to be careful about how they fight, if they fight, and when they fight, because Nick Thyssen, yeah, he's dropped off a little bit on the back of Nunes, but he's still there. He's still a threat, and with how flowing this track is, if you go side by side, at least even for a couple of corners, you can lose a significant amount of time. And if they start to fight, if Nunes sends a move to the inside, we saw how easily it can end in disaster a little bit earlier on with Piquet. Nick Thyssen could still be a threat for these two in this race, so they need to be careful, as Velen is really pushing the limit. So maybe he's starting to feel the pressure of Nunes in behind.
Yeah, he certainly is, and I wonder if that was a choice of line trying to open up that final corner, or if it was just taking too much speed through the first apex of the spoon curve. Certainly difficult to see at this moment in time, but already we're getting towards 8 minutes to go. This race is flying by, and the opportunities are going down with it being such a long lap. But now to the outside, Nunes goes in that number 1 car, but actually backs out of it, doesn't go for the dive, because sometimes getting the run out of the final corner is more important to make the move down this front straight.
He's got a perfect distance as well. He's, he's close, but not too close in order to properly utilize the slingshot from the slipstream and catapult himself past Velen. But Velen is moving right, left, trying to break the hole in the air that he's punching for Nunes, who just has a bit of a look to the right-hand side in towards T1, but not enough. Maybe just trying to show his nose to Velen and play that psychological game with him, and just to say, I'm here, don't make a mistake, because I'm right behind you, and I'll be ready to put on the pressure and go for a move if the opportunity arises. But as you say, we've only got around about 3-4 laps at a push in this race left because of how long this track is. Only 20 minutes. You have to get these moves done quickly, and for Nunes, he's got to be thinking about getting past sooner rather than later, because he certainly has the pace to.
Well, certainly, because as you come in towards turn 1, you basically have a minute of corners before you get back to the main overtaking section as well. So that, of course, loses you opportunities compared to some other tracks. But that is why when you get that opportunity, maybe into the hairpin, maybe into the final chicane at the Casio Triangle as well, you need to be taking those opportunities. And last lap around, Nunes actually backed out of it a little bit. Let's see if he's that calm this time around on this lap, as he's staying so close. Once again, is in the background. He sees Bradick and Hertois going side by side once again through 200R, and Hertois struggling to hold on to this position. Bradick is really starting to try and come back from this. Obviously, they swapped position a couple of laps ago, but now the number 10 diving up the inside, potentially into Spoon Corner, just looking down the inside at least. And all this battle is doing is bringing the cars behind even closer.
Gives us more to watch though, I suppose, so I'm not complaining one bit, but Hertois is putting up a great defense, and Bradick is trying to breach those defensive lines of Hertois. This run slightly uphill towards 130R, it plateaus a little bit, then you go flat out through this left-hander, a bit of side-by-side action, a bit further back, but can Bradick go the long way around at 130R? It's going to be very difficult. Runs onto the AstroTurf, but keeps his foot in. Oh no, he's spun, he's got the unsettled, and oh my word, that AstroTurf proved to be deadly, as Roosendahl just about manages to avoid the spinning Bradick. And I mean, fair play for trying to keep that car flat, but on the AstroTurf, that was always going to happen.
Yeah, the car's at the absolute peak of its grip and the limit of its grip going through there. Any sort of reduced grip from the AstroTurf or such on the outside, when you're at maximum yaw as well, is not going to be good. I mean, he was fully on there, but it happened very late, as you say, just when he got on the AstroTurf, and that is a big hit into the wall as well, and that is going to take him out of this race. And unfortunately, that is a good position gone wasted as well, because he's really having a good race today.
He was doing really well, was Bradick. And yeah, Roosendahl, fair play for him to slam on the brakes that quickly, because that was going to be very sketchy, just to have a car sideways across the track right in front of you. Yeah, his BPM certainly would have been just a little bit higher, but yeah, no, it was a weird spin, an unfortunate spin, and that's what happens when you're in the absolute limit fighting for positions like these. Hopefully it doesn't happen between either of our top two, of Viti Velin and Ronnie Nunes, because both of them have been down each other's throats pretty much since they managed to inherit the lead around about 10 or so minutes ago. And unfortunately, Nunes has been unable to make much of an offense versus the race leader, but he's going to be closing that gap and maybe just sitting back waiting for that opportune moment, because if he gets through, it's going to be quite easy for Velin to just get back into the slipstream and launch a counter-attack. Is Nunes waiting for the last possible moment to get this done?
That is very true. It's certainly one of those tracks where you can flip-flop in a battle, and it seems like this time around Bradick actually got a really good run out of Spoon Corner, so maybe that extra wide line is helping him as he comes through that one. Velin, I should say, really doing well towards the front so far, holding on to that lead, but Nunes is so close, and even once again out of the final corner, almost pushing him. This could be the opportunity towards turn 1.
It certainly could. Velin with not the best run at all. Nunes is going to be looking at this and thinking, do I go for it now? Because he's got a really good opportunity. His best one since. Velin to the right-hand side to defend. He's given Nunes the outside line. It's going to be very tricky to do that. Is he going to be committed? No. He backs out and thinks better of it. Velin retains the race lead for now, but Nunes, I think, just opted to sit back behind. He didn't have enough of a run to convincingly go around the outside. And yeah, Velin, you know, he's not a dirty driver, but he can certainly be quite aggressive. And on the outside through such a fast corner, it'd be so easy for Nunes to just run himself out of track. So with this late on in the race, he's thinking he doesn't want to throw away a P2. He wants to win, of course, but he wants to do it cleverly, and he doesn't want to throw it all away in an all or nothing move.
That is very true. And with a couple of laps left as well, you know there's going to be just another opportunity coming the way of Nunes. But when you get into this situation where you have sat behind a driver for so long, it does make that a little bit easier for the likes of Velin to defend, because you get used to where the car behind catches up to you. You always look in the mirrors, you're always seeing where they are. And of course, you've got the spotter telling you the gaps and position as well. So that, of course, helps. But these guys, they've been having such a battle, but they've now dropped Thyssen by 5 seconds, and then 10 seconds to Hertois. They are having a very fast battle as well as a clean one so far.
They are indeed. This is the penultimate lap, of course, of this race. The next one will be lap 10 and the white flag with only 2 minutes and 18 seconds left on the clock. Nunez's time is running out. Velin is going to be hoping to see that white flag. That'll be a sigh of relief if he can cross the checker flag in front of Nunez. It's been a race-long battle between the two, but it all comes down to this one more lap of Suzuka to decide it all. Nunez on the limit through 130 are pushing it as they head through the Castro Triangle all over the rear end of Velin. Is this his final chance? The full pitch straight down in towards T1. He's close. Is he close enough? They've got the back markers in front. That could also play a bit of a factor as they go towards the latter stages of this lap. The number one of Nunez not close enough really. Velin just keeping it to the right hand side, and you can actually see he's going to go defensive. Could that be to his detriment as Nunez is only going to close up, but he's not managed to do it on this occasion. His final attempt really is going to be either 130R or the final braking zone of the Castro Triangle.
Or is there going to be somewhere else? We've got the lap traffic coming up. This could be, of course, a good, good opportunity for Nunez to try and catch Velin at an awkward point of the track. We'll see what the lap traffic does. As all you see, they're already getting wiggly. That is one car out of the way, but we still have another one just a little bit up the road. I think it's Königswald just in front of them. And of course, this battle is getting very tense indeed as the opportunities go down and down every single corner that they pass. And this hairpin really is the first good opportunity where it looks like Nunez is just a little bit too far behind, so maybe Spoon is where to do it.
How much is he willing to put on the line as Nunez? Does he want to just absolutely send one to the inside, not into this hairpin, but certainly closing the gap and through 200R as well? He's going to be in the slipstream towards Spoon curve. That back marker in the way, it's not going to be ideal. It depends when they catch them and how quickly it moves out of the way. But Nunez very, very close. His opportunities are running out though. Can he do it?
There, let's see in towards Spoon corner. This is the final time we've seen that wide line work once again. And actually, Velin's going to be getting some slipstream there from the lap traffic. This could be helping him massively as we come up towards 130R for the final time. Is Nunez going to be able to get the run, or is that lap traffic just going to hinder them?
We'll have to see. The lap traffic moves out of the way. It's single file between our top two. 0.2 of a second separate them as they head in towards the final sequence of corners. Is Nunez going to be brave enough on the brakes? Velin to the right-hand side to defend. The checkered flag is going to be waved. Nunez to the long way round. How brave can he be on the brakes? It's not brave enough. Velin is going to hang on unless he can keep it clean through this final couple of corners. He's going to do that. The run to the line. VT Velin takes victory here in Suzuka. He'll be closely followed by his race-long rival of Ronnie Nunez, who will finish off in second place. This is the fight still with Roosendahl and Rubio through the Castro Triangle for the final time. Can Klaus have a run to the line? Not quite going to be able to get himself up in a 7th place, but what a fight that was on the final lap between Ronnie Nunez. He gave it a go, but I just think that the car on the brakes, it was too optimistic to go around the outside there, but I mean, he tried, but Velin kept his cool so well there.
Yeah, you really want to be on the inside of that final chicane, but as you might remember over the years, we see many accidents happen there just because there's a little kink to the right in the braking zone. So to go around the outside, as you say, very difficult indeed, but he gave it a go, and Nunez certainly put on a good fight, coming back from being P4 at the end of lap 1.
He's done a great job indeed, was able to take victory here in Suzuka after 10 laps of racing and the faster lap 2 of a 2:4.96 on the final lap as well. So very impressive indeed from our race winner. Ronnie Nunez and Nick Thyssen round off the podium in 2nd and 3rd. Jim Royce and Kevin Birrell 4 and 5 with Patrick Roosendahl P6. Just in behind there is Rubio in P7. Timon Klaus P8 with Vaughan Roberts and Janssen rounding off your top 10. Outside of that though, Rambin P11, Martinson P12, Paquette P13 after what was a race to forget from pole position, shoved off at the Castro Triangle and didn't really recover. Kreitzmer from 17th to 14th, Max Portugal in P15, Manor P16, Jesper Sandström P17, Carl Reed just behind that in P18, Königswald and Kadera P19 and 20. Then Alfie Bradick, the lone DNF in this race after a pretty sizable crash through 130R P21. Well, what a race that was, Cam, and we've got one more week 12 in a week's time.
We certainly do at another great track of Imola as well. So it's going to be an awesome finish to this season. There's been some great racing so far, and I'm sure that is just going to continue there. So yeah, can't wait for it. Just a week's time as well.
Well, that does wrap up our coverage for today here of the iR-04 Challenge Series for Friday night primetime. It has been myself, Zach Sweeney. I've had Cameron Roger alongside me in the commentary booth, with Zach Johnson giving you the production feed and trying to keep up with all the action here at Suzuka today. As we say, this is the penultimate round of this season. Join us in a week's time, same time, 8:45 p.m. BST. We'll be there in Imola for what should be an absolutely chaotic race. Until then, take care. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.